When we talk about self-defense, we don't always mean punching, kicking, and beating somebody up. In fact, while training in karate, you learn a lot about ways that you can get away. So really, self-defense is not just about the fighting aspect. It's about not having to fight, about reducing the chance of being harmed or harming somebody else. So let's talk about self-defense for photographers. Hey, this is Scott Wenkivowitz, a storyteller with a camera talking about all the things photographers like you and I are thinking about. In this video, we're going to be talking about self-defense for photographers. Not the punching, kicking, karate chop kind of self-defense, but actually the kind of self-defense that'll keep you out of a dangerous situation. So we're going to talk about a bunch of things, some practical things, some things you may not have considered or heard of before, some things. For example, talking with Vanelli, I discovered that 12.5%, those are the chances. You have 12.5% chance of being killed if you are abducted. So never get in the car with somebody. You just don't get in the car with somebody you don't know. Or take every possible precaution. If you are getting into an Uber, a Lyft, something like that, take every precaution. Share your ride with somebody else. Make sure that somebody else is tracking that trip. Verify the person's picture, the make and model of their car. Use every precaution possible to make sure that you're safe. The next thing I want to say is that if there is an attempt of mugging or robbing or something, and you have all of your equipment, the best thing you can do is give them your equipment. If you are attacked and somebody wants your equipment, or if there's a group of people who want your equipment, give it to them, drop it, give it to them, and run. If you're out on, let's say, a photo walk and somebody asks to see your camera and it's somebody you don't know, maybe what you should do if you use a neck strap is to let them hold the camera, but you still hold a neck strap. And that way, that camera cannot be stolen. Now, this person is not as likely to attack you, so it's not really a self-defense issue, just more of a practical thing to reduce the chance of your camera getting stolen. Another thing you can do to protect yourself is if you meet somebody and they say, hey, what hotel you staying at while you're in town? You can tell them the hotel. Do not tell them what floor you're on. Don't tell them what room you're in. When I was talking to Vanelli about this topic, he had a really good tip that I want to share with you right now. And that has to do with somebody asking for your phone number if they're suspicious, if you're at a bar or whatever. If they ask for your phone number and they are suspicious, give them the number 202-456-1111. If they happen to call that number, they're getting the White House. Of course, if you live outside of the United States, you're not going to give them the White House number. Find another number that is equally as hilarious that you can give to somebody that's suspicious. For all those who are constantly posting on social media, stop doing it in real time. Stop telling people exactly where you are at any given time. Because if you do have somebody who is aware of you and trying to hurt you, you're telling them where they can find you. If you plan on telling people where you are, consider doing it an hour after you're there, 2 hours after you're there, the next day, whatever it is. So there are some practical things of avoidance, right? Things that you can do, just avoid being at harm's risk, at harm's way, whatever you want to call it, to avoid being a victim. Now I want to talk about what you can do if you are actually attacked. In martial arts, in military, in any form of self-defense and fighting, there is something called a kubotan. A kubotan is typically the size of a little bit longer than what would be like a keychain dongle or something like that. Now, kubotans are thin, kind of pen-shaped like devices. They are solid wood, solid metal, and they are to be served as a weapon. So they are actually illegal in a lot of states, in a lot of countries and whatnot. They are illegal. But then it's not like a gun, it's not a knife. They're just a blunt object, because then you can take your keychain and either use it as a handle and whip your keys around and you could hurt somebody with your keys, or you can actually use the kubotan and hit somebody with that and not hurt yourself, but actually hurt the person that's trying to hurt you. What I want to give you some advice is for people who want a kubotan type thing, but cannot use a kubotan because it's illegal, here's what you can do with the equipment you already have. If you are photographing at night, most likely you have something like a flashlight. A flashlight could be a really good self-defense tool, especially good quality flashlights. Pelican lights, mag lights, coast lights. There are a lot of lights that are heavy duty metal. This can actually get a car rolled over and it'll be okay. It's pretty durable, pretty strong. But you can take this end or this end, and if you hit somebody with this, it is gonna hurt a lot. So if you have a flashlight with you, because you're photographing at night, put it in your back pocket, put it in your front pocket, put it wherever it's accessible. Use a spider clip and put it on your pants or your shirt or whatever, and make sure that it's always accessible somewhere, wherever you have the ability to put it. Even if you have a smaller one, if it's metal, it can be used as a good source of hit somebody and get out of the way. Now, of course, I'm not always telling you to hit somebody. This is worst case scenario. So please just don't go around just hitting random people. This is worst case scenario if you're attacked. By the way, knives are actually legal in certain states. For New Jersey, for example, you can have a knife as long as it is the blade is shorter than your hand. Obviously, this one is a little bit longer, so I cannot actually carry this with me. This is usually what I use to open boxes because I like the little serrated edge as well. But there are knives that you could have, and by the way, the automatic flip switchblade, whatever you call it, also not legal in New Jersey, but it is in other places. So knives, I also don't recommend it because you don't want to hurt somebody that bad. If you can hit somebody with a blunt object and get out of the way, that's much better than the lethal risk of using something like this. If you are out vlogging, if you use a tripod, whatever it is, you might have something like this. Now, SwitchPod or any tabletop tripod or any vlogging style tripod is not meant to be used as a weapon, but it could be. This is pretty solid metal right here, especially with the handle. You could really cause some damage if you were to just take this out of your bag real quick and hit it at somebody, kind of like a baseball bat, right? I mean, this would hurt somebody. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do it open because then you wouldn't be as effective. But if you had all the legs closed, it could be used as a pretty blunt object if you wanted to. You add a ball head to that, and now you've got even heavy duty metal on top of metal that's already there. Now, I don't normally use my SwitchPod with a ball head on it, but you could put a ball head on it, and now you've got even more metal that could really hurt somebody if you needed to. And by the way, where you hit the person is really important because you could hit somebody in the head and actually cause lethal damage. So you got to be careful. Hit somebody in the knee, hit somebody in the arm, break their bones if you have to, but don't try to kill them because then you'll have some repercussions that you might have to face because of that. So I don't recommend hurting somebody that bad. Just enough so that you can get away. Break their knee, get out of the way. That's it. That's it. Hit their knee, hit their arm, hit their elbow, hit their hand. They are going to drop to the floor in so much pain that you'll be able to get away without any problem. The last thing I want to show you in this video is something that you most likely will always have on you as well when you have your camera. If you are a photographer who is always using a tripod, sometimes using a tripod, vlogging, whatever it is, you most likely have a tripod plate on your camera. If you have an L bracket, it's even better, but that is an object that can cause some damage. Imagine somebody is asking for your camera. If you cannot get away and you are trying to give somebody your camera, give it to them with force. Give it to them to the point where that tripod plate is what hits them first. Your camera's going away anyway, right? Somebody's gonna take your camera and steal it. It might get destroyed anyway. So why don't you do the effort of hitting them with your tripod plate? Not the camera, just the tripod plate. Best case scenario, they go down, you run away with your camera. Worst case scenario, they go down, you lose a camera too, but you live. So I just want to remind you that I am not condoning, I am not recommending, I am not saying to cause harm. I am saying to get away. However you can do it, okay? Get away. Think about what objects you always have with you when you're out making photos. If you don't normally have objects with you, pack a flashlight. Pack something that you could use in a worst case scenario. And if you do have no choice but to hurt somebody, be careful that it's not a lethal hit. I would recommend going for a weak part of their body, like a kneecap, like an arm, like a hand, like fingers, like toes. Break a nose. It doesn't take much pressure. So do what you have to, but do not use lethal force. The best thing that you can do is just get the heck away from somebody trying to hurt you. In the next video about self-defense for photographers, I hope to show you some simple moves, simple karate moves, things that you could do if you don't have equipment on you, but you're still at risk of being attacked, or you don't have any sort of self-defense device on you and you're at risk of being attacked. some things you could do to protect yourself and get away. And if you want to see that next video or other videos, click the subscribe button below. I publish new videos every Monday and Thursday whenever possible. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.